Hello friends, this video on semiconductors part 4 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 3 before going ahead with part 4. Now we will start with the next section of the lesson where we will talk about the elemental semiconductors. What is that? I gave you in the examples of semiconductors, I told you that if you talk about elements, it's like silicon, germanium, which are semiconductors, which behave as semiconductors. You have many objects like gallium arsenide or polyaniline, which behave as semiconductors, but they are known as compound semiconductors because they are formed by combination of two or more elements, right? So here in this lesson, we will talk only about the elemental semiconductors. So what are the elemental semiconductors? It is nothing but silicon and germanium. Only these two elements have been found to have the properties of semiconductor. But once we are clear with the properties of silicon and germanium, then it is applicable to all other semiconductors because the compound semiconductors are made up of these elements. They are also made up of combination of some elements. So our focus here will be, we will restrict ourselves to the study of elemental semiconductors, that is silicon and germanium. So while explaining, I'll consider the example of silicon everywhere. However, the same applies to germanium because if you look at germanium, it has got the same kind of electronic configuration. Germanium also has 4 electrons in its outermost shell. So first let us talk about the types of semiconductors. So how many types of semiconductors do we have? The first one is an intrinsic semiconductor. The second one is an extrinsic semiconductor. So we will discuss about intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor in detail one by one. So what is an intrinsic semiconductor? Intrinsic semiconductor is a pure semiconductor. What do I mean by a pure semiconductor? Pure means there is no impurity added to the semiconductor. So now, how would it behave? So let us see how does it behave. We are talking about a silicon atom. So let us say this is my silicon atom which has got 4 electrons in the outermost shell. Now when many silicon atoms come like this, everybody has 4 electrons. So let us say this is silicon. Here again you have, now you understand why are we considering crystals, because in crystals you have a specific pattern of the arrangement of atoms which is not there in case of any other substance, right? So now what do you think? What will this silicon atom, how will it combine with its neighboring silicon atom? Now as I mentioned, silicon has got 4 electrons in its outermost shell. So for the silicon, it is all the same if it absorbs 4 electrons from outside or if it donates its 4 electrons to somebody, right? So what does silicon do? It basically forms covalent bonds with its neighboring atoms. I am sure you would have studied about the different kinds of bonding in your chemistry lesson. See, physics and chemistry are very much related. So many times there will be concepts which you will study in your chemistry and then we will make use of that in physics. So in this case, what happens? What is covalent bonding? Covalent bonding is nothing but sharing of electrons. So these two silicon atoms decide that, okay, fine, I will share this electron with you, you share this electron with me. Similarly, this silicon atom will decide, I'll share this electron with you, you share this electron with me. Again, this silicon will decide with this silicon that I'll share this electron with you, you share this electron with me. Similarly, this silicon atom will also decide with another silicon atom which will be present above this that I will share this with you, you share this with me. Now, if you look at this silicon atom as a whole, it has got 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it became stable. Correct? So that means every silicon atom will share electrons with the neighboring silicon atom. So that is how the structure of silicon would be. So now silicon got 8 electrons and therefore silicon is happy. So all the bonds are intact. So all the covalent bonds are intact and all the electrons are engaged or they are involved in the bonds. Correct? So that means, what do you see? Do you have free electrons here to conduct electricity? No, we don't have, right? Because all the valence electrons of silicon got involved in bond formation. Correct? So we are not left with any free electron to conduct electricity. So that means a pure semiconductor or an intrinsic semiconductor is an insulator because it does not have any free electron. But what will happen if I supply some external energy from outside? How will I supply that external energy? Let us suppose if I increase the temperature, what will happen? As the temperature increases, bonds will start breaking because some thermal energy will be available. By increasing the temperature, I am basically providing some thermal energy. Now, when some thermal energy is provided, some bonds break. And what happens if a bond breaks? Let us suppose this bond breaks. If this bond breaks, this electron will become free. So this electron will become free. So this electron will then be available for conduction. Right? So that means if I increase the temperature, then what happens? Bonds break, and as a result, the electrons which were earlier involved in bond formation, they become free. And these free electrons are then available for conduction of electricity. Now, what happens when an electron becomes free? This electron moves out from this place. So what is left behind? Nothing. So that nothing is known as a hole. Let us suppose it is something. Hole is not an object. It is just the vacancy created by an electron. Let us suppose there are 4 chairs. Now electrons are sitting in all the 4 chairs. When electrons are sitting on the 4 chairs, what do we say? We say that electron with negative charge is sitting on these chairs. Now let us suppose one of these electrons walk away and move out of the room. So that means this chair is vacant now. So what do we say? Since electron was an object which had negative charge, now we say that hole is sitting on this chair with positive charge. Are you getting my point? Hole is not basically a particle. It is just an imaginary concept just to denote the vacancy which is created by an electron. So any place where electron goes away, so the empty space which is left behind is called as a hole. So hole is considered. So please note these two points about hole. Hole is not a particle. Hole is a vacancy created by an electron. It is considered as a free particle with positive charge. That is just an imaginary concept to make things easy to understand. Right? So we assume that hole is nothing but it is similar to a particle like electron which has got positive charge. Right? So what happens as soon as you apply some thermal energy by increasing the temperature, bonds break and this electron becomes a free electron. As soon as the electrons become free, the empty space created by the electron is known as hole. So that means a hole is created. So now if we look at the energy band diagram of intrinsic semiconductor, what do we see? Now if your temperature is 0 Kelvin, that means if you do not increase the temperature, if you are at room temperature, then what will happen? How will the energy band diagram look like? In that case, the conduction band will be empty and the valence band will have electrons and holes, right? So the valence band will have electrons. This is when it is at room temperature. Then the energy band diagram will look like this. Now what happens if I increase the temperature? When you increase the temperature, some of the bonds will break. As a result, some of the electrons will become free. What do I mean by free electron? That means some electrons will jump from the valence band to the conduction band. So some of these electrons will jump to the conduction band. Right? Why these electrons are jumping? Because these electrons have got some energy in the form of thermal energy to overcome this energy gap. and that is why they are jumping to the conduction band. Correct? Now, what is happening to the valence band? Holes are created in the valence band. So you are clear with the energy band diagram? So that means in a pure semiconductor will act as a conductor only when you supply some external energy to it. So that means in an intrinsic conductor, number of electrons, that means the number of free, whenever I am talking about number of electrons, I am talking about the number of electrons which are actually conducting. So here the number of electrons is equal to the number of holes. You can very clearly see it from the figure. If two bonds have broken, if two electrons have gone to the conduction band, that means two holes will be created here. If one more electron jumps here, again one more hole will be created. So that means the number of electrons in the conduction band is equal to the number of holes in the valence band. So this number is denoted by Ni and it is known as intrinsic carrier concentration. Carrier means the charged particle which is carrying the electricity. Correct? So it is known as intrinsic carrier concentration. So what do we notice in case of a pure semiconductor? Number of electrons is equal to number of holes. Number of electrons or holes is known as intrinsic carrier concentration. Clear? So I hope you are clear with what is an intrinsic semiconductor. Now, what is the total current in an intrinsic semiconductor? When I'm talking about current, I'm obviously talking about the scenario when we have applied some external energy. Because as long as we do not apply an energy, it will be like insulator. It will not conduct any current. So the total current in an intrinsic semiconductor is the current due to electrons plus the current due to holes. What does this mean? This is again a very small but quite important concept here. So where IE is the electron current and IH is the hole current. So okay, electron current you all must be clear. That is, the electrons are moving from valence band to conduction band. So the flow of these electrons in the conduction band will constitute the electron current. But what is this hole current? Okay, so pay attention to this. As I mentioned, whenever we apply some external energy, this electron will become free electron. So that means the electron will jump out from here. So we will be left behind with a hole, right? Now, this hole is nothing but a vacancy. So now, in order to fulfill or in order to occupy this hole, some neighboring electron jumps into this hole. For example, let us suppose this electron, the electron which is present here, this electron jumps into this hole. So what will happen? A hole will be created here now. Correct? Now again, since a hole is created here, maybe some other neighboring electron will jump here to occupy this hole. As a result, a hole will be created here. So what is happening? If you see, initially the hole was here, now the hole was here, and then the hole is here. So in other words, you can say that this is the movement of the hole. So the hole is moving from 1, then 2, then 3, and then so on. So these movement of holes constitute the hole current. As I mentioned you before also, that hole is nothing but it is the vacancy created by electron. But in order to simplify things to understand, we assume that hole is like a charged particle with positive charge. So as these it is basically the electron motion is defined or is understood in terms of hole motion, so that we do not get confused. Because see, here we are writing electron current plus hole current. Now if we do not introduce this concept of hole, then this is also an electron current. Actually this is also electron current, right? So it will become very confusing that which electron current I am talking about. One electron current talks about the conduction electrons. The other electron current talks about the flow of electrons in the valence band, right? So that is why this concept of hole was introduced in order to avoid confusion. So when I talk about this IE, that means the electron current which is due to the flow of the conduction electrons. When I talk about IH, I means the flow of the holes in the valence band. So these flow of the holes constitute the hole current. So it is clear? Okay. Now, what did you see? What were the processes involved in an intrinsic semiconductor? First is thermal generation of conduction electrons and holes, right? The conduction electrons and holes were generated thermally. When you apply some thermal energy, what happened? The bonds broke. As a result, electrons were emitted. As soon as electrons were emitted, holes were created in the valence band. So that means you are basically generating electrons and holes thermally. So that was one process which was involved. Which is the other process? That is recombination of electrons and holes. So when do you think the recombination of electron and holes will occur? Now let us suppose first I increase the temperature to some temperature T, and then suddenly if I drop the temperature back to 0 Kelvin, then what will happen? As soon as I drop the temperature back to 0 Kelvin, the electrons and holes will start to recombine. Because when you increased the temperature from 0 Kelvin to some higher temperature, electrons and holes got generated. Now when you drop the temperature back to 0 Kelvin, the electrons and holes will start recombining. Now at equilibrium, what happens? The rate of generation becomes equal to the rate of recombination of electrons and holes. Right? So this is an intrinsic semiconductor. So what did we conclude about an intrinsic semiconductor? We concluded that intrinsic semiconductor behaves like an insulator at T is equal to 0 Kelvin. So this is the behavior where you have all the electrons in the valence band and the conduction band is completely empty. At T greater than 0 Kelvin, thermally generated electron-hole pairs constitute current through the semiconductor. So when we increase the temperature, the covalent bonds break. So the electrons overcome this energy gap and goes to the conduction band. As a result, holes are created here. Now the movement of these holes and the movement of these electrons constitute the total current through the semiconductor. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.